Hi, teachers. So let's begin a teacher talk about helping our students unlock word meaning. Today, we're going to dive into this powerful tool for teachers. Does it feel like your students are hitting and a wall when they encounter a familiar vocabulary word? So instead of using tools to decode meaning, many readers simply skip over a known word entirely. So you will see your students just skip it and keep reading like nothing. This creates a silent, like literacy gap where skipping words lead to directly to a total comprehension breakdown, preventing students from fully engaging with the text. So today I'm going to give you some tips and strategies to use in the classroom with your students. And if you are a teacher like me, an ELA and social studies teachers, you're going to see how I integrate my ELA, my social studies into my ELA block. So I save time. I don't have to start from scratch when I have to transition into my social study block and period. So I start with already familiar text that I have used in ELA. So we're gonna hit a couple of things here, and then we transfer that practice and reading we did in ELA to social studies to reinforce that vocab and understanding and comprehension. So solving the real problem in the classroom. We have a problem. We have many students skipping words. And we have another problem. We don't have the time, teachers, to plan so many different lessons to ac- to get to every student, and which is feels unfair. And also the problem that we have so many mixed levels and they all need support. So what do I do? So we're gonna dive into this a little by little. And for example, how do I teach my students specifically that they skip unknown words? We're gonna go into that, how to plan, and how to really support each learner in our classroom. So we're gonna go through this powerful four-part strategy to teach students to be word detectives by hunting for that context clues, breaking down words parts, spotting synonyms, antonyms, and engaging in a focused close reading. I'm a firm believer of close reading. I do believe students should close read paragraphs, not entire pages and books. They should annotate. They need to learn it. I teach it and reteach it and teach it and reteach it and practice and drill in my classroom. That's very important to me as a teacher. So the right tools. So let's look at this like a three-step learning loop. So the method here is effective and it's simple because it's a repeatable steps. Introduce a strategy with a visual anchor chart, and you're going to could be any anchor chart, context clue, word parts, synonyms, antonyms, and after you have introduced a strategy, you use anchor chart, the visual. You bring the visual into it. So basically, what I do in my class, I introduce the strategy. I always start with a question and I ask them, what do they know? If I'm, for example, teaching about context clues, what do you know about context clues? And in that way, this is like a pre assessment and to know if they have already a background knowledge or they lack that background knowledge. And then we discuss it. We take all the answers and we talk about it and I reveal the anchor chart and I'm like, okay, let's see where we were right and what was wrong and how can we fix and hit those misunderstandings. It's all because at the end of the day these kids are learning and we shouldn't be telling them that they're wrong. So I never tell them they're wrong. There was a confusion about here and there and let's clarify it. Then the anchor shot plays a big role because that's the visual for all learner. Maybe your high level they might use it, scan it fast and get it, but this visual helps support your tier 2 and tier 3 in many different ways. It displays in my classroom, it stays on my walls for my students to use it. And the third step will be to practice, so student can make the skill their own. We need to teach them that this is something they have to make it their own, they have to use it their own. So here I move to this integrating my social studies and ELA together. How do I use it? For example, the resource, the packet that I'm sharing with you, this is a packet in my store. I use it in my own classroom. So it's word meaning, but it's geography, how geography shapes our world. So in that way, whenever I'm teaching maps, I'm teaching geography, my students are already familiar with the text, so comprehension are small groups, so I am already they're familiar, so it's easier for them to understand the concept. So for me, it's really important to integrate both. It saves me time. I don't have to go look for a new passage, new reading, and read it first time and second time until they understand it. I'm already bringing them to social studies with a passage that they have already read, they understood, they have break down those words that they need. So now it's just social study. Is not we're struggling to read in social studies. So it's really important to understand why do most of my resources you can integrate so many subjects at the same time is to make it easy on you and help them support them because this transfer skills into social study instead of wasting 20 minutes understanding the passage we're already coming in to do the activities. It saves them time, it saves me time, and it gives me a break. I don't have to be doing direct instruction at the beginning. So as I said, again, introduce, practice, apply. This is the routine I use every single time. I introduce the lesson, I practice and I apply, and next comes the visual. Um, Explaining exactly many students, if they don't have the visual in front of them, they won't be able to even visualize it, practice it, or anything. They need that visual. They need that anytime they need support, anytime they don't have to raise their hand, they don't have to ask, they just look up and find that anchor chart. And you will see on the next one, I have for each one in that packet, I have for each strategy, I have one for them. It means a lot. For example, this one, synonyms and antonyms. There is a mistake. I just noticed it, but it's okay. We'll fix it. Break up bold words helps them to see how it's used. And this example, and there's a picture at the bottom. Practice before the passage. This is many ways I do it. Even before reading the passage, we practice the vocab. We break down the vocab. I practice it and we find this which strategy we're using. For example, if I'm introducing context clues, I'm introducing prefixes, I am introducing the strategy that is going to be used and during that moment. We practice it before even reading the passage so they can comprehend the passage. Here we're talking about I'm not just throwing a passage at my students. They need to comprehend it. They need to understand it because this is exactly what is state testing. If they are reading without even stopping and thinking, and if they don't know the meaning of a word, I can look at the root word, I can look at the prefix, I can look at the suffix, at the Greek roots, at the Latin roots, and I can understand the meaning of this word by breaking it down. They're not going to be able to answer the question and have score high. So that's our point. Then they move into the close reading. There is questions. They have margin to take notes, focus, standards align. I use it in my class, and again, we read it first time, second time. During ELA, I can use it for small group, and it's based. I move it to social studies. I always try to connect, integrate social studies and ELA in every aspect. The assessments are colored by number activity, which is very easy. They can work with a partner. I believe assessment shouldn't be just a test. There's so many different ways to assess students. I love partners working together for a test. I do it all the time because they share their thinking, their strategies, they learn from each other. And then comes the last step, which is from readers to writers. I always try to incorporate like in hands-on activity. That's the best that they can do. There's a lot of fun activities in this packet, but especially me, like any, and I'm not, this strategy can be used with any packet. You can begin using it in the classroom with any passage, with any resources, but specifically this I always try to move this way. We start from scratch from A, and Z is a project where we display in the classroom. This is some of the hexagon my student did, where they enter some of the activities, they drew their pictures, and this is how it looked at the end when we displayed it in the classroom. So this packet is designed for every learner. We have the visual, we have all the step-by-step model helping struggling readers. Use it in small groups, use it in whole groups, use it as intervention. There's so many ways, and it's interactive, it's fun, it's engaging. It's a weekly packet. As I said, you can use it in a different, just print and go. This is, I'm giving you something to help you and support you. It's a standards aligned, and more than happy to hear your comments. Leave a comment telling me, did you enjoy it, you didn't enjoy it, can you use this strategy in the classroom and make it to help you become a better and save some time as a teacher. And you can grab it here, and you will have everything I just showed in the presentation. But this is the model I use all the time, so it doesn't have to be with the packet. You can use it any way you rather use it. But if you follow the same step every time, for example, introduce the question, ask the question, what do you think, what do you know? They answer it together as partners. Then you move to the modeling, the visual, I'm sorry, you show them the visual, you discuss it. I discuss it. We break down that anchor chart. I display it on the board, I break it down. Then you model how to do it. Then you move to the practice. They read, maybe together, then they practice. And that's the only way students can retain that information, is following certain steps, and can be used with any students. Grab any LA subplans, more than happy. Follow me. You can find me on Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. Thank you so much. And don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much.